Hi everyone, this is Tom. Welcome back to the channel. Today is Sunday, which means it's a review of all my goals for the week, how I've done over the past week, and just kind of resetting me back to getting back on track with the week ahead. So it's currently 6:15 in the morning. I love Sundays because I'm up before pretty much everybody else. Drive into the office, nobody's around except taxi drivers for some reason. Does anyone know why taxi drivers are always around early in the morning when nobody else is around? I don't know. It's a mystery to me, but they're the only people I see on a Sunday morning. Then I get to the office, completely dark throughout the whole building, and I can kind of get to work, get some stuff done. Then I go climbing, and then the rest of the day I get to spend with my family, having felt productive. So I love this way of kind of working super early in the morning, and that's why I'm here on a Sunday morning. But let's review the goals. If you looked at my video from last week, if you've been following my weekly goal updates on a Sunday, you'll remember that last week I did really badly. I kind of completely fell off, gained weight, didn't do my podcast, my video, missed one of the Tom Watchman videos on this channel, and overall it was just a very unproductive week. So I needed to really get back on track, and so this is what I've been focused on for this week, is really getting back on track. But whenever I review my goals, and you can do this as well, if you have goals, sit down on a Sunday and recap what those goals are to start with. Just remind yourself what the goals are, why you're kind of pursuing those goals. So let's have a look at my goals before we go into seeing how I did for the week. So I've got the goals, and they kind of fall into three categories: 0 to finals, the Tom Watchman YouTube channel, or this YouTube channel, and my health and fitness goals. And for 0 to finals, at the minute, I'm working on the pediatric content, and I'm writing the book, recording podcasts, and writing questions, aiming for 3 topics per week. And the podcasts come out on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Then I'm aiming to build the YouTube channel a bit more with 1 video per week, which is launched on a Wednesday. Then I've got the Tom Watchman YouTube channel. I'm doing daily videos. And for my health and fitness goals, I'm aiming to lose weight, and I would love to get down to 86 kilograms, which has been really elusive and tricky over the last few years. And I want to get better at climbing, so I'm climbing twice a week. And my strength, mobility, and fitness program to kind of achieve these goals involves a 5 a.m. mobility routine, strength training 3 times a week, and cardio twice a week. So let's take a look at last week, up to the 3rd of May, was a failure across the board. Everything's in red. I mean, I did record 6 Tom Watchman YouTube videos, which is pretty good, but everything else was terrible. I gained weight, wasn't good. So let's have a look at how we've done this week up until yesterday, 10th of May. Podcast-wise, I did manage to record 3 podcasts. So that's a great start. Tom Watchman YouTube video, 0 to finals YouTube videos. I got 1 of those recorded and published. We got Tom Watchman YouTube videos, and I did 7 of those. So this Tom Watchman channel, this week I've really been focused on content on how to learn. And it seems like there's the most demand for that, how to learn content, study techniques, how you plan your revision schedule, all that kind of stuff. If you found those videos helpful, let me know. And if there's any specific questions, I am keeping a kind of list on my phone of all the really good questions that people ask and trying to address those in future videos. So I should, if you leave a comment and a question, I should get round to answering that in a future video. Anyway, let's carry on. So weight loss wise, I went from 94.7 down to 91.7 kilograms. So that's a loss of 3 kilograms. So that's mostly going to be water weight. So when I went off my diet the last couple of weeks, I went off my diet, and what happened was, because I was eating more carbohydrates, more salt, and more sugar, things like that, they were getting stored in my muscles as glycogen and in the subcutaneous tissue, and then retaining lots of water within the body. And now I'm back on a lower carbohydrate diet, less fast-acting carbohydrates, sugars, and so on. And I'm doing more exercise. So a lot of that water will be cleared and I'll be a little bit more drier. And that's what accounts for most of that weight loss. That's not going to be sustained 3 kilos a week. That's just this week. And then next week, I anticipate, hopefully I'm down under 91 kilos. That'll be great. Climbing sessions wise, 2 climbing sessions this week, 3 strength training sessions this week, and 2 cardio sessions this week. So you'll see, if we just take an overview of the last, 9 weeks, where we've been pursuing these goals. Something really important here to recognize is that there's a lot of green. So I've made a lot of progress overall in terms of all these things I want to do. I've made loads of videos for both channels, loads of podcasts, done loads of climbing sessions, loads of strength training sessions, loads of cardio sessions. And I have overall lost quite a bit of weight from 96 kilos to 91.7. But there are some red aspects. If you're pursuing goals, the important thing is you're not going to be perfect through the whole process. And the perfectionist tendencies within me has this kind of desire to have everything here in green all the time for every week. And the problem with that is, if I then miss a week, if there's a week where I miss some of the goals, for example, last week I didn't record 7 Tom Watchman YouTube videos. If there's a non-perfect week, there's this tendency to just throw everything out and cancel the goals, give up on them, restart and set some whole new goals, and just go through this cycle of doing whole new goals, doing it perfectly for a week or 2, then falling off, setting new goals, and never really making progress. Whereas by accepting that there's going to be some red on this chart, and over time, it's going to look like this, part mostly green, some red, and accepting that that's okay, but it's important to stick with those goals. A big part of achieving many goals in life is just sticking with them, just being consistent, sticking with the same thing even when it gets boring, when you fall off the bandwagon, get back on it. When there's more attractive goals that kind of turn up to your side to try and distract you away from the goals that you're pursuing. A big part of it is just sticking with that same thing for a long enough time where you see big results. So that's what I'm aiming to do with these ones. And I'm going to keep going with these same goals, even though in my mind there's kind of new goals that are kind of forming, and I'm becoming more kind of distracted and excited about other things. It's important to stick with these ones because it's sticking with them longer term that really shows you the most benefits. I hope that video was somewhat helpful, and I'll see you in the next weekly review, which will be in 1 week from today. And I hope that all of these are in green again. But I'll see you in the next video, which will be tomorrow.